This is the single most heated argument in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. On one side stands a literal god, a being who has survived the heat of a dying star and lived for 1,500 years. On the other sits a creature of infinite rage, whose strength has no scientific upper limit. Fans have spent years analyzing frame-by-frame footage from the Battle of New York and the Grandmaster's Arena, but most miss the biological reality underneath the muscles. To understand who truly wins, we have to look past the armor and purple pants. We need to look at the anatomy.
The first thing you notice about Thor is not his height, but his mass. Asgardian flesh does not work like human tissue. In the Marvel Universe, Asgardians possess a biological density roughly 3 times that of a human being. This means that even if Thor stood perfectly still without flexing a single muscle, he would be harder to move than a slab of concrete. His skin feels like smooth marble to the touch, but resists bullets like Kevlar. This density explains why he can take a punch from Thanos without his internal organs liquefying instantly. A human bone snaps under about 4,000 newtons of force, but Thor's skeletal structure can withstand pressure that would crush a tank. He is not strong simply because of magic. He is strong because he is built out of biological steel. Most heroes die in space without a suit. We saw this in Infinity War when the Guardians of the Galaxy found Thor floating in the debris of a ship. A human would lose consciousness in 15 seconds as oxygen left their blood. Their fluids would boil and their lungs would rupture. Thor drifted in the absolute zero vacuum for an unknown amount of time and survived with 0 permanent damage. His physiology is so efficient that it can enter a state of suspended animation, locking down his cells to preserve oxygen and heat. This feat proves that his durability goes beyond simple impact resistance. His body is a sealed system, capable of withstanding the harshest environments in the galaxy without a scratch. Bruce Banner's anatomy is completely different. He is not born of a dense alien race. He is a human mutation triggered by gamma radiation. When Banner transforms, his cells act like biological nuclear reactors. They draw energy from an extra-dimensional source, adding mass rapidly. This is why he grows several feet taller and gains nearly 1,000 pounds in seconds. However, the scariest part of Hulk's anatomy is his adaptation system. His body constantly evolves to match the threat in front of him. If he is under pressure, his muscles harden. If he is drowning, his body develops the ability to breathe underwater. He is a living weapon that rewrites its own DNA in real time to ensure survival. Looking at the baseline reveals a clear winner. If you take a calm Thor and a calm Hulk, the Asgardian wins every single time. Thor's strength is static. Whether he is happy, sad, or angry, he can lift millions of tons. He starts the fight at level 100. Hulk, however, starts lower. In his Professor Hulk form, or when he is just mildly annoyed, his strength is measurable and finite. We saw this in their earlier interactions, where Thor could block Hulk's strikes with relative ease. Without the fuel of rage, Hulk is simply a very strong biological organism. But Thor is a magical entity with a constant, high-level power output. If a fight ends in 10 seconds, Thor is the one walking away. Fights rarely end in 10 seconds. And this is where the math changes. Hulk's strength is directly tied to his adrenaline and anger levels. There is no theoretical limit to how angry he can get, which means there is no limit to his strength. As the battle drags on, his adrenal glands pump more gamma energy into his muscles. His fibers tear and rebuild instantly, thicker and stronger than before. In a prolonged beating, Thor will eventually hit his fatigue limit, but Hulk will not. He is the only being in the universe who gets fresher and more dangerous the longer you beat him. It creates a terrifying paradox where defeating him requires hurting him, but hurting him only makes him unbeatable. We must also consider the single greatest durability feat in MCU history. In 2018, Thor took the full force of a neutron star to forge Stormbreaker. A neutron star burns at millions of degrees. The beam that hit Thor didn't just carry heat, it carried the gravitational force of a collapsed sun. Any biological material should have been vaporized instantly. Yet, Thor held the mechanism open for minutes. His skin charred, but his muscles held together. This proves that his resistance to energy and heat is leagues above Hulk's. Hulk can shrug off bullets, but we have never seen him tank the concentrated energy of a star. This indicates that against energy-based attacks, the Asgardian is superior. If you enjoyed this breakdown of superhero biology, Subscribe to see the science behind your favorite characters every week. Healing factors function differently for each hero. Hulk relies on regeneration. You can cut him, burn him, or break his neck, and his cells will stitch themselves back together in seconds. He survives because he repairs damage faster than you can inflict it. Thor relies on durability. He survives because he is too hard to damage in the first place. However, if Thor gets hurt, he heals at a much slower rate. He lost an eye to Hela, and it never grew back. Hulk would have grown that eye back in moments. In a war of attrition where both take heavy damage, Hulk's healing factor gives him the edge. Recent events involving Red Hulk have shed new light on gamma physiology. We learned that not all Hulks function the same way. Red Hulk, unlike Banner, generates intense heat when he gets angry, which can actually cause him to overheat and weaken. Banner's Hulk does not have this flaw. His system vents heat efficiently, allowing him to fight for days or weeks without stopping. This distinction is critical because it highlights that Banner's mutation is perfect. He is an engine that never stalls. Thor has incredible stamina, as he fought frost giants for hours, but he does need rest eventually. Hulk is a perpetual motion machine of destruction, and that stamina difference is a massive problem for the God of Thunder. Raw power is useless if you can't land a hit. This is where Thor's age becomes his greatest asset. He is over 1,500 years old. He has fought on hundreds of planets, mastering every weapon and fighting style in the galaxy. Hulk is effectively a toddler in a tank. He fights with instinct and rage, swinging wildly and relying on his chin to take hits. In the arena on Sakaar, we saw Thor systematically dismantle Hulk, using technique rather than strength. He used Hulk's own momentum against him, dodging and weaving like a professional boxer against a bar brawler. If stats are equal, the trained soldier beats the wild animal every time. The fight in Ragnarok gives us the clearest answer. For the first half, Hulk was winning physically. He caught Thor's hammer strike and smashed him into the ground. However, the moment Thor's eyes began to glow, the fight ended. A single bolt of lightning sent Hulk flying back, dazed and confused. This proved that Thor's magical output, or God mode, hits harder than his fists ever could. The Grandmaster had to intervene to save Hulk, not Thor. That scene confirmed that while Hulk might be the strongest physically, Thor is the more powerful combatant when he uses his full arsenal. Biology loses to magic when that magic is lightning channeled through a god. Thor doesn't just fight with his hands. He brings weapons that are capable of killing cosmic entities. Mjolnir was strong, but Stormbreaker is a different beast. It was designed to kill Thanos. It sliced through a beam from the Infinity Gauntlet, a beam that contained the power of all 6 stones. Hulk has no defense against the sharp edge of that magnitude. His skin is tough, but it isn't impenetrable. We've seen him bleed from Fenris Wolf's bite. If Thor decided to stop brawling and simply threw Stormbreaker at Hulk's head with lethal intent, the fight would likely be over instantly. Hulk can heal, but he cannot regrow a head decapitated by a king's weapon. Thor is not just an alien. He is a magical conduit. He summons lightning, controls weather, and can manipulate the Bifrost. This energy, often called the Odin Force in the comics, flows through his blood. It means his attacks hit on both a physical and metaphysical level. Hulk is purely biological matter, but Thor is matter plus energy. When they clash, Thor can attack from range, rain down fire from the sky, or trap Hulk in a tornado. Hulk has to close the distance to do damage. This range advantage allows Thor to control the pace of the battle, wearing the beast down from a safe distance before moving in for the kill. The biggest limit on both characters is their mind. For years, Bruce Banner held the Hulk back, afraid of the damage he would cause. He treated the Hulk like a disease. Thor, in contrast, often holds back out of arrogance or desire to enjoy the fight. He loves the thrill of brawling. But recent years have changed this. Banner and Hulk have merged, creating a smarter, more controlled fighter, but one who lacks the savagery of the original Savage Hulk. Thor has lost everything, including his home, his family, and his eye. A depressed, desperate Thor fighting for survival is far more dangerous than the cocky prince we met in 2011. Mental state dictates the winner as much as muscle mass. There is one scenario where Hulk wins definitively. It is a state known in the comics as World Breaker Hulk, and the MCU has hinted at this potential. If Hulk gets angry enough, he begins to emit gamma radiation in waves, destroying everything around him just by existing. In this state, he cracked the tectonic plates of Earth with a single step. If the MCU Hulk ever reaches this level of rage, perhaps if he lost Black Widow again or saw his cousin She-Hulk killed, he would surpass Thor. At that level, physical density and lightning don't matter. He becomes a force of nature that cannot be stopped.
only survived. Thor has a high ceiling, but Hulk has no ceiling at all. Determining who is truly the strongest depends on the criteria. In a bench press competition, Hulk wins. His potential to lift heavy objects scales infinitely with his rage. However, in a fight to the death, Thor takes the crown. The Asgardian combines elite durability, centuries of combat experience, and a weapon that can slice through the toughest skin in the universe. He has too many ways to end the fight early, such as lightning, decapitation, or battlefield removal. Hulk needs time to get angry enough to win, and a serious Thor simply wouldn't give him that time. Hulk is the strongest, but Thor is the most powerful. And in a war, power is what matters. The difference between Thor and Hulk is the difference between a hurricane and an earthquake. One is a focused, directed force of destruction. The other is a chaotic disaster. Bruce Banner's alter ego will always be the physical anchor of the Avengers, but the God of Thunder stands alone at the top of the food chain. He is the one you call when the universe needs saving, not just smashing. The strongest Avenger has been holding a hammer all along.